April, that's the third time this week.
I know it, Draper. Look, I'm really sorry, but it just can't be helped.
You say the same thing every night you have to work late.
Well, Draper, there's a lot that has to be done around here.
If you're going to be that damn busy, maybe Margot should hire you an assistant.
Look, I assure you that after this week, things will calm down.
You keep saying MON's such a small station, yet you work 12-hour days.
Draper, Margot is going on that broadcast convention, and there's a lot of information that's got to be compiled for a speech she's going to make there.
I'm just surprised she doesn't insist on you going with her.
Draper, I wouldn't be of any help to Margot there. And besides, look, she's giving me a crash course on how to keep the fort down while she's gone.
Look, how late are you going to be?
I really don't know. Look, if you really want to get home, go ahead. I can take a bus. There's no problem.
No. I have work to do here. Just call me when you're through. I'll talk to you later.
Ready to get to work on that Harper brief?
Oh, never mind, Mike. I can handle that myself tonight.
I thought you wanted me to lend you a hand so we could both get out of here on time tonight.
Well, I'm afraid I'm going to be staying later. April just called. She's working again, late.
Sounds like her new job is keeping her busy.
No, Mike. It's not her new job that's keeping April busy. It's April's mother. Mike, Margot's using that job she gave April to break up my marriage.
That's a pretty serious charge, Counselor.
Well, that's what's happening, Mike. I'm convinced.
Just because April has to work late?
Oh, no, I understand that. I do it myself, Mike, but every night?
She's only been on the job a few days, Draper.
Oh, it's a pattern, Mike. I can see it coming. It's getting worse, not better.
Well, I guess the staff at the station isn't very large. April's the new girl, and maybe she's just being a bit overeager.
No, Mike. It's Margot who's being too eager. She's eager to use this job to drive a wedge between me and April. She would like nothing better, Mike, believe me.
Well, you have to admit that Margot is giving her daughter a marvelous opportunity.
And don't forget the money, Mike. I mean, April will never let me forget it.
You did say it would come in handy with the new house and all that.
Oh, that's what gets me, Mike. I know that Margot has all the reasonable arguments in this situation. Now, I have nothing but a gut feeling, Mike. A conviction that something insidious is happening.
Draper, has it ever occurred to you that what's taking place is just natural?
Now, what's that supposed to mean?
I know the circumstances are kind of unusual. Margot coming back into April's life after abandoning her as a baby. Trying to be the devoted mother after 25 years of neglect.
And April accepting?
But don't you think that's only natural, too?
Oh.
April missed a vital element in her childhood, the loving care of a mother. Now, suddenly, it's being offered to her, and she's grateful.
Overwhelmed.
And at the same time, Margot is discovering what she missed, too. She's trying to make up for lost time. Wants to be a mother again. They're both responding to the same need in the same way.
But they're leaving me out, Mike.
Yeah. I guess that was bound to happen. All right, naturally you feel hurt, left out.
Hey, look, Mike, I'm not a kid. I know I know I don't own April. But I'm surprised that she can't see through this woman, can't see the inherent selfishness of a woman. A mother who would desert her own child. Hell, my father! I'm sorry. This is a law office and not an analyst's couch.
I have the feeling you're doing your own analyzing, Draper. That's probably for me, Draper.
Take it.
Yes, I know. Oh, yes, I was expecting him. Would you ask him to wait in my office, and I'll be there in just a moment. Thank you.
So, excuse me, it's a little late for the clients, isn't it?
Well, it's not a client I'm seeing. It's a Mr. Philip Seward.
Seward. The name rings a bell.
I assume you've heard of the law firm Seward, Paxton, and Whiteside.
Oh, yeah, who hasn't? You know, when I was graduating from law school, I tried to get a clerkship there. They wouldn't even give me an interview.
That's surprising, since they usually take their clerks from Ivy League schools.
Yeah, you never said anything about knowing him.
Oh, I don't. I got a letter from him the other day. Said he was going to be in Monticello on business and wanted to get together for a chat.
That's impressive.
Although he didn't say so in his letter, I got the distinct impression this might be a recruiting mission.
Well, maybe I should start looking around for another partner?
Why? I have no intention of leaving. No, I'm only seeing Mr. Seward as a courtesy. Now, look, why don't you come and meet him? That way you could discuss that letter of rejection with him.
I just might do that.
Mr. Seward?
Ah, Mr. Carr.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I'd like you to meet my associate, Draper Scott.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Ah, well, your name sounds familiar to me, young man.
Oh?
Yes, I believe I read it in the newspaper in connection with a couple of recent court cases. Am I correct?
Yes, Draper's been involved in a couple of cases that have gotten quite a bit of publicity.
Yes, let me see. Winter, Austin, and Page Madison.
That's right.
Yes. Well, I was most impressed with the way you handled Miss Austin's defense.
Oh, well, unfortunately, we were dealing with fabricated evidence.
Yes, I know, but of course you had no way of knowing that. No, I think you did a masterful job. I mean, considering the few favorable points you had working for you, you made brick out of straw.
He's doing a fine job in the Page Madison case as well.
Well, of course, when they found out that her testimony was false, the district attorney is perfectly right to revoke the granted immunity, but you are to be complimented, convincing him to give her yet another chance.
Thank you. I'm just doing my best. Mike, I'll talk to you later. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Ah, well, the pleasure's mine. This is a nice young man.
And a fine attorney. Please, won't you sit down?
Ah, thank you.
Now then, Mr. Seward, to what do I owe the honor of this visit?
Oh, Mr. Carr, you and I are both very busy men, so let's not beat around the bush. As I wrote you in my letter, we are in the market for a top-notch lawyer.
So I gathered.
You had the reputation for being one of the best legal minds in this part of the country for a long time. Now, frankly, I was hoping that you might consider moving your base of operations to New York. More specifically, to the offices of Seward, Paxton, and Whiteside.
That would be quite a move.
Well, you see, what we're looking for is someone to take on some of the more important trial cases that we handle. Now, I must say that your courtroom record made it most easy for us to decide who our first choice for the position would be.
That's very flattering.
Yes. I take it you haven't given much consideration to closing up shop here and moving on?
Mr. Seward, life has been very good to me in Monticello.
Yes. Yes, I'm sure it has. And under the best of circumstances, leaving your firm or your town, your family, and your friends would have to be difficult.
Frankly, I've never even considered the possibility seriously.
Well, that may be because you've never had sufficient reason to before today.
What makes you think I would change my mind now?
Well, in all likelihood, you've never been approached with an offer so attractive that you couldn't possibly turn it down.
That would be quite an offer.
Yes, well, Mr. Carr, what I am about to propose is just that. Quite an offer.
All right, Mr. Seward, I'm listening, but don't get your hopes up.
Wow! Look who's still here.
Oh, hi, Nicole. How are you?
I thought you and Draper would be well on your way back to that beautiful new home of yours by now.
Yeah, I'm afraid so did Draper.
Margot is really keeping you busy.
Yeah, well, I'm still learning the ropes. I figure with a couple weeks' experience, these chores will take about half the time.
You wouldn't happen to know where I can find her, do you?
As a matter of fact, I do. She was absolutely exhausted, and I practically had to force her out of the studio. If you want to reach her, I'm sure she's home by now.
No, it's not really urgent. Both of you have been working above and beyond the call getting ready for this broadcasters convention.
Yeah, well, Margot has asked me to write a summary of this demographics report. Well, 2 weeks ago, I didn't even know what demographics were, and now I'm supposed to be able to analyze them.
You certainly come to this job with the right attitude. You're doing a wonderful job.
Really? Thanks.
Listen, April, I know how much you want to prove that you belong. I felt the same way when I came to WMON. But it's not necessary to overwork yourself.
Oh, Nicole, I don't mind it, really.
Huh. Okay, just keep in mind it's the quality and not the quantity of your work that counts.
Thank you. Speaking of quantity, I was hoping to make a dent in that correspondence before I went home. I don't know.
You're impossible. How does Draper feel about you putting in these hours?
Well, he certainly is not crazy about the idea. But I believe, given some time, he'll accept the fact that I have responsibilities too now.
Well, just don't go overboard. Heard of many marriages in this industry going sour because one partner decided to make the studio their second home.
Yeah, but Draper and I will be fine. Listen, Nicole, it's not that I don't want to spend time with Draper, don't get me wrong. It's just that I really do love being here. I don't consider any of this work at all.
I think the newness of your career has something to do with your enthusiasm. It's a great business.
Yep, and it's a great boss, gotta admit that.
Margot treats us all very well.
Nicole, Margot has opened up a whole new life for me, and I just want to be sure that I can please her as much as she's pleased me.
Margot likes to do nice things for people. Well, as a matter of fact, she made me a very nice offer just a little while ago.
Oh, what was that?
A free weekend at Palace Park.
You're kidding.
Oh, she had some reservations that she can't use, and they're already paid in advance.
That's terrific. Well, you're going to take it, aren't you?
I might. Depends on Miles.
Uh-huh. I see. How about a cup of coffee?
All right.
Oh, black?
Yes, please.
You know, bothers me when I think that sometimes people who are so kind can be taken advantage of.
What?
Oh, I didn't mean you.
What did you mean?
Nothing. Nothing.
You don't look too happy, Mr. Dorn.
I have a rather perplexing problem, Mickey.
Well, I listen to all our customers' problems. There's no reason the boss can't bend my ear. If he has a mind to, that is.
Yeah, I suppose I'm too close to the situation to really find a solution. Put yourself in my shoes for a minute.
Yeah, sure.
But before we go on, I must swear you to absolute secrecy.
The bartender never tells.
Mickey, supposing you were in a most unsatisfactory relationship, and you wished to extricate yourself from it, how would you go about it?
Tell the person to take a walk.
It's not that simple. Yet I have to get this person out of my life permanently.
What do you mean by permanently?
I just never want to see his face again, Mickey.
You're not talking about doing anything drastic, are you?
Just what do you mean by drastic?
Do I know the party that you're talking about?
You most certainly do, Mickey.
Look, I hope I'm not out of line, but did you and Mrs. Dorn have a little fight, or?
No, Mickey, it's not Mrs. Dorn. The person I'm talking about is right here in the Unicorn. Antoine. I despise that little fat man, Mickey.
I should have guessed that.
But I just want him to be away from the Unicorn. Nothing more, I can assure you.
Just give him his walking papers.
See, Mrs. Dorn wouldn't take kindly to his dismissal. And I wouldn't want Antoine to be a source of friction between me and my wife.
Well, it looks to me like you're stuck.
If only I could get Antoine to leave of his own accord.
Well, have you told him yet that I'm taking over when you go away for the weekend?
Not yet. I want him to be far away from his kitchen knives when I say that.
Well, you know, he's always thought of himself as second in command here. When he hears about this demotion, he might get sore enough to quit.
One can only hope, Mickey.
You know, I'm not crazy about the little fat man myself. He's a real pain in the neck, but we may just have to learn to grin and bear him.
Oh, some very distinguished guests have just arrived. Now to perform a duty that makes this job worthwhile. Mickey, not a word. Well, what an honor to say that the esteemed district attorney and his lovely wife frequent my little place.
The pleasure is ours.
But I've noticed your name was scratched off our reservations list a few times, Mr.
No
Swift.
reflection on the Unicorn, I can assure you.
I am convinced that my husband works harder than anyone in Mayor Finley's administration.
Yes, I know he's had a few major cases back to back.
You better believe it, and he works so late sometimes. I think if I were a jealous wife, I might be a little suspicious.
Oh, with a wife as lovely as Mr. Swift has, he will give no cause to jealousy.
Thank you.
Anyhow, I'm sorry if those last-minute cancellations caused you any problems.
Oh, not at all. We are quite happy to take care of your wife at dinner. You just let us know.
Well, that's very kind. Perhaps you could look after our little boy, too. We have a son, you know.
Oh, yes, I know. Although I haven't heard much of him.
Well, he's just a little boy. There's nothing much to say. Why don't you join us, please?
Sure, thank you. Well, I like children myself. I love them. But unfortunately, we do not have facilities for them at the Unicorn.
Oh, sounds like Palace Park.
Did you say Palace Park?
Yes, we're going there this weekend.
Oh, really?
Hi, can I get you a drink?
Yes, I would like a very dry martini.
Scotch, rocks?
What a coincidence. So am I.
You're kidding. Well, that's wonderful. What a small world.
It's also a very small resort, which means we'll be running into each other very often.
Well, perhaps 4 of us could have dinner sometime.
I'm afraid that wouldn't be possible. You see, Margot is not accompanying me.
Oh.
No, she had to go to this broadcasters convention in Center City. Well, I saw no point in staying in the apartment looking at the 4 walls, so I decided to give myself a much-needed rest.
Please, please, spend some time with us. I mean, we could take the opportunity to get to know each other better.
Perhaps you and I could play around to golf together.
Golf is not my game, Mr. Swift.
No, I don't know why we're making all these plans, because as soon as the day comes and we're at the door, you're going to get a phone call, you're going to have to go to the office, and you know this whole thing will be put off.
I'm going to do my best not to disappoint you. As far as I'm concerned, the weekend is on.
Excuse me. I wish you enjoy your dinner.
Thank you very much. Oh, Mr. Dorn.
When you have a minute to talk, let me know. I think I figured out a way to get rid of Mr. Antoine.
Tell him we'll pick him up so the 4 of us go out to dinner.
No. Thank you, but some other time. I really still have some work to do.
Oh, you apple polisher, you.
Miles! Margot is treating me very nicely, and I just want to make sure she knows I appreciate it.
Well, I guess I can't fault you for being conscientious.
Besides, I'm not the only one Margot's been nice to lately. Nicole told me that Margot made her a very attractive offer this... Oh, you didn't tell him yet?
Oh, I was just about to. Margot has asked us to be her guest for the weekend.
Guests? Where? What, in the guest room of her penthouse apartment? I think I'll pass.
No, at a place called Palace Park.
What's Palace Park?
It's supposed to be a lovely country inn with good food and all sorts of recreational activities.
Yeah, Margot was planning on spending the weekend there with Elliot.
Well, look, if they want us to accompany them, we can certainly pay for ourselves.
Oh, no. Margot and Elliot aren't going.
But Margot made all the arrangements before she realized that she had a prior commitment to this broadcasting convention.
And she couldn't back out of that one.
It's all paid for in advance. And the hotel has a strict policy of no cancellations.
Oh, that's too bad for Margot, isn't it?
Oh, she thought it was sort of silly for the room to go to waste, so the suite is ours for the taking.
And it certainly would be silly to pass up an opportunity like this.
Oh, come on. Mrs. Goodman can take care of Adam for the weekend. Please? Listen, you've been working so hard recently. Weekend away without having to think about your practice would be very good for you.
Well, I guess both of us could do with a little rest, couldn't we, Mrs. C?
Then it's all set.
Just point me to Palace Park.
Ian, just want to let you know I was on my way home.
Oh, well, wait a second. Aren't you going to tell me what happened?
Oh, you mean my get-together with Mr. Seward?
Yeah.
Well, he painted a very attractive picture of what life in New York might be like.
I'm sure he did.
As a member of the firm of Seward, Paxton, Whiteside, and Carr.
Mike, you're kidding. You mean he offered you a senior partnership?
It was a very flattering offer.
Yeah. When did you say you would let him know?
Oh, I already gave him my answer.
Well?
15 years ago, I probably would have jumped at the opportunity. But Monticello's my home. I have no intention of leaving.
Well, how did he react to being turned down?
Well, he seemed genuinely disappointed. Thought I might be acting hastily, considering the magnitude of his offer.
Well, let's face it, it's not every day you get to join the most prestigious law firm in the country.
Draper, I'll tell you what I told Mr. Seward. One reason joining his firm was less attractive is because, as far as I'm concerned, I'm affiliated with a very fine law firm right now.
Mike, thank you. I feel the same way.
See you in the morning, Draper.
All right.
Good night.
Good night. Sergeant Scott. Scott speaking.
Oh, well, just the man I wanted to talk to.
Who is this?
Philip Seward, Mr. Scott, and I'm glad you're still there.
Oh, Mr. Seward, Mike just walked out of the office. Is there anything I can do for you?
Well, you wouldn't happen to have some free time right now, would you?
I beg your pardon?
Well, I'm at a place not far from your office. It's a watering hole called the Gavel. I'd like to buy you a drink.
Well, I appreciate your offer, but I don't see why you would...
I won't take up much of your time, Mr. Scott. I really would like to talk to you.
Look, Mr. Seward, excuse me, does this, have something to do with your discussion with Mike?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, it does.
Well, Mike told me, about your talk, and he told me that he turned down your offer. So if you think that you can talk to me and get me to change his mind, I'm afraid you're wrong.
No. I'm sure that Mike was perfectly sincere when he said that he wasn't interested. I mean, I know there are lawyers that say no just to up the ante, but, well, I'm sure Mr. Carr isn't like that.
No, he's not.
No, as far as I'm concerned, Mr. Carr has taken himself out of the ball game. What I would like to talk to you about over that drink, Mr. Scott, is you.